Sometimes it's hard to figure out what's what, and other times it's much easier. Here we're alongside on Berm Road here, just south of Kerhonkton, of Middleport. But clearly what we got here is a berm side, another one of those spots where they actually had to build it up, and then a towpath. Let's see, I think what we probably have, I think what we're seeing in the middle is probably the New York O&W's line. Yeah, built through the canal. And then on the far side is the towing path. Of course, the New York O&W came through here between Ellenville and Accord in 1902, extending their rail line from earlier in the century. But you can kind of see there's a reason I do these things at this time of year. It's Election Day 2022 and a more attractive day to shoot. I don't know, I've really lucked out here. So what I'm trying to get us to, and it's a little ways down, probably the smart thing to do would be to cross through. Hey, the canal's got a little water in it. See if I can safely get across this watered section for you. See if I can keep my feet dry. It's always a nice thing. Not that warm out. But, okay, safely across, coming up on what is truly a berm, being a 20th century. So the towing path, what's left of it, you got to figure when the railroad came through in this section, there's the early towpath. It's not that big 10-foot wide vigorous thing we're used to seeing, but I have to imagine this 1902 berm built by the New York O&W. Sometimes they built it on the towpath, sometimes on the berm, other times dead center or more or less. This is really a little to the port side here. But I'm walking on a later construction the railroad built between, well, basically inside the canal bed. And so in the process, the towing path has been highly compromised. It would have been much easier, I'm speculating here, to bring in a steam shovel and just pull material over here to make this pathway. I'm walking this with confidence because I know at some point this is going to become part of a huge trail on the whole O&W. But they ain't ready for it yet here, are they? This is the Little Stony Kill. There will be, you may or may not have seen our Little Stony Kill aqueduct. And this is you may or may not have seen our Stony Kill aqueduct. Here's the Little Stony Kill aqueduct. And I gotta say, this looks like this aqueduct. So that stonework down there, again, because the railway, the railway then used the side of the stones. Yeah, so the railway, when it got to the aqueduct, wisely built and used the stone from the aqueduct and then ran a railway bridge over this section. This appears to me, and it's always hard to say, the maps aren't as specific as you'd like, but I'm looking at this width here. This is the towing path here. This is the abutment on this side, fairly intact, down there, where the canal boats went. And this appears that this could have been an aqueduct that was wide enough for two-way traffic. So wide enough ultimately after 1850 for two boats to pass side by side going in the opposite direction. On the other side, there's nothing left of the stonework, or hardly any, except for what I'm standing on right here. And then this is just a little pretty for that really is a little stony kill, huh? Kill, the Dutch word for a stream. Sorry about the the backlight there. But there it is on the modern, that's the berm road. Not on the berm in this case, but adjacent to, alongside of. What's left of the canal prism, very degraded. And as we said at the beginning, you can make out the difference between the towpath and where the railroad went. But the railroad, having been so much later, is much more apparent than what was left of the canal. But this is pretty, this here tells a story. It really looks to me like that this particular aqueduct would have been fairly short, so it really would have gone just from the stone right here, so what is that, maybe 25 feet. And so they built this one wide enough for two-way traffic. There were 20 aqueducts in the historic era. Only one was completely of stone in High Falls. There were 4 suspension aqueducts, but they had wooden trunks. And these other 14 or 15 aqueducts would be built with masonry piers and wooden trunks of various widths, depending on the terrain and the width of water they had to cross. This is a pretty small river. And there you can see, I think that water is falling down over right there. Let's close in a little bit. That would be woodwork put in. I always talk about how John Jervis had them lined with wood. Oh, you know, and I take it back. This is how degraded this is here. This stonework is flooded over. This is the other, the bottom of, it corresponds, although it looks a little lower, but look, that stone is just all washed away in a freshet or something. So you can clearly see now right here, that was the bottom of the aqueduct, and what's left of this abutment, mostly gone over there then, up on that end, right? And then, again, that side kind of gone when the road came through, yada, 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 it's gone. But an interesting example of an aqueduct built to accommodate two-way traffic on the D&H Canal.